The Amish have never replaced a good garden tool in over 150 years. Not a shovel, not a hoe, not a rake, not even the old pruning shears passed down from great-grandfather. While the rest of us watch our expensive stainless steel tools turn orange and crumble after just a few seasons, their tools still look almost new after decades of daily hard use. The secret is not expensive rust-proof coatings from the hardware store. It is a simple two-ingredient treatment that costs less than $2 to apply and lasts for decades. It is beeswax mixed with a natural oil, the same formula traditional craftsmen and farmers have used since the 1600s. Today I am going to show you exactly how it works, why it works better than anything modern industry sells, and how you can protect every tool in your garden this weekend. Let me start with my own experience, because I used to be part of the problem. For 15 years, I bought new garden tools every 2 or 3 seasons. Shovels rusted through the blade. Hoe heads snapped where the metal met the wood. Pruners seized up and became impossible to open. I blamed cheap manufacturing. I blamed the rain. I blamed myself for not cleaning them properly. Then one summer, I spent a week working alongside an Amish farmer in Pennsylvania. I watched him pull the same shovel out of the barn that his father had used in the 1970s. The steel was still bright, the edge still sharp, and there was not a single spot of rust anywhere on it. When I asked how he kept it that way, he simply said, "Beeswax and linseed oil, same as my grandfather taught me." That moment changed how I look at garden tools forever. What I learned next is the reason this knowledge disappeared from hardware stores after World War II. Rust is not just old metal looking bad. Rust is the slow destruction of iron and steel through oxidation. When iron meets oxygen and moisture, it forms iron oxide, the reddish-brown flakes we all know. Once rust starts, it expands and flakes away, exposing fresh metal underneath, so the process accelerates. In humid climates or coastal areas, a neglected tool can lose half its strength in less than 5 years. Modern rust-resistant coatings, powder coating, paint, or cheap clear sprays usually last only 1 or 2 seasons before cracking or wearing off at the high wear points, like the blade edge or handle joint. Beeswax and oil work completely differently. They do not sit on top of the metal like paint. They penetrate the microscopic pores of the steel and create a flexible, self-healing barrier that actively repairs water and oxygen while allowing the tool to breathe. The combination has been used for centuries on everything from ship rigging to farm tools to woodworking planes. The British Royal Navy used similar mixtures on metal fittings in the 1700s. Colonial American blacksmiths applied it to axes and plow blades. The Amish never stopped using it because it simply works better than anything invented since. Let us look at the science behind why this treatment is so effective. Beeswax is a complex natural polymer produced by honeybees. Chemically, it is a mixture of long-chain esters, fatty acids, and hydrocarbons. Its most important property is extreme hydrophobicity. It repels water at the molecular level. A thin layer of beeswax can reduce water absorption by more than 95%. Because beeswax remains slightly plastic even after it hardens, it flexes with the tool instead of cracking like rigid paints or varnishes. When the tool is used and the surface is scratched, the wax can be reheated or simply rubbed with a cloth to reseal the damaged area. This self-healing property is something no modern synthetic coating can match without expensive additives. The oil component, traditionally boiled linseed oil, does 2 critical things. First, it penetrates deep into the grain of the wood handle and the microscopic pores of the metal head. Linseed oil is a drying oil, rich in alpha-linolenic acid. When exposed to oxygen, it undergoes polymerization, forming a tough but flexible cross-linked film inside the material, rather than on the surface. Second, the oil acts as a carrier that delivers the beeswax into every crevice and joint where moisture loves to hide. Studies from the USDA Forest Products Laboratory have shown that linseed oil combined with beeswax increases the service life of wooden and metal outdoor equipment by 300 to 500% compared to untreated surfaces. When the two are combined in the right ratio, Typically 3 parts linseed oil to 1 part beeswax, they create a coating that is completely waterproof, oxygen blocking, flexible enough to move with the tool, non-toxic and food safe, important if your tools touch vegetables, renewable and biodegradable. Research published in the journal Progress in Organic Coatings 2018 tested natural wax oil blends on steel and found that the corrosion rate dropped by 92% after 1,000 hours of salt spray testing. Another study from the University of Minnesota Department of Bioproducts and Biosystems Engineering showed that beeswax linseed oil coatings outperformed commercial rust inhibitors in long-term outdoor exposure trials. This is not marketing hype. This is chemistry that has been field tested for centuries by people who could not afford to replace tools every few years. Now let me show you exactly how to make and apply this treatment yourself. The basic recipe makes enough for 1015 tools. Ingredients: 1 cup, 240 milliliters boiled linseed oil, food grade or artist grade, never raw linseed oil. 1/3 cup, 80 milliliters pure beeswax pellets or grated beeswax. Optional: 1 teaspoon pine tar or a few drops of citrus essential oil for scent and extra insect resistance. Method: 1. Set up a double boiler. Never heat beeswax or linseed oil directly over flame, because both are flammable. 2. Melt the beeswax completely in the top of the double boiler. 3. Slowly stir in the linseed oil until fully combined. The mixture should look like thin honey. 4. Remove from heat and let it cool slightly, until it is still pourable but not scalding hot. 5. Pour into a clean glass jar with a tight lid. It will thicken as it cools but will remain spreadable. Application steps takes 15 minutes per tool. 1. Clean the tool thoroughly. Remove all dirt, old rust and grease with a wire brush or sandpaper. For heavy rust, use a vinegar soak. 1:1 white vinegar and water for 24 hours, followed by baking soda neutralization. Dry completely. 2. Warm the tool slightly with a heat gun or by placing it in the sun for 30 minutes. Warm metal accepts the coating much deeper. 3. Apply the warm beeswax oil mixture with a clean rag or stiff brush. Work it into every crevice, joint and the wood handle. 4. Let it sit for 1015 minutes so the oil can penetrate. 5. Wipe off excess with a dry cloth. The tool should feel slightly greasy but not dripping. 6. Hang the tool in a warm, dry place for 48 hours to allow full polymerization of the linseed oil. 7. For extra protection on high wear areas, blade edges, shovel tips, apply a second thin coat after 48 hours and buff to a sheen. One application usually lasts 510 years with normal use. If the tool is left outside year-round in harsh weather, simply reapply every 34 years. The beauty is that you never have to strip old layers. Just clean and add a new coat on top. I have used this treatment on more than 30 tools in my own garden. My grandfather's 1960s shovel now looks better than most new tools at the store. The wooden handles have darkened to a beautiful nut brown patina and have never cracked. The metal heads show no rust, even after being left in the rain accidentally for weeks. The difference in weight and balance after several years is noticeable. The tools stay light because rust is not eating away the metal. Let us compare this to what the hardware store sells you today.
Most commercial rust preventives are either petroleum-based sprays that wash off after one season, powder coatings that crack at stress points, rust converters that turn rust into a black compound but do nothing to prevent new rust from forming underneath. These products generate billions of dollars in repeat sales every year because they fail quickly. Beeswax and linseed oil cannot be patented. There is no intellectual property to protect, so there is almost no marketing budget. That is why you have never seen a glossy television commercial for it. The knowledge simply faded from public view after synthetic chemistry took over in the 1950s. Yet the Amish and traditional farmers never forgot. Their farm records from the 1800s mention wax and oil for tools as standard spring maintenance, right alongside sharpening and handle replacement. The formula has survived because it works in the real world, season after season, generation after generation. There are several useful variations depending on your needs. Heavy-duty version for shovels and hoes. Increase beeswax to 40% of the mixture. Add 1 tablespoon of pine tar. This creates a thicker, more abrasion-resistant coating for tools that dig into rocky soil. Food-safe version for harvesting knives and pruners. Use food-grade mineral oil or fractionated coconut oil instead of linseed oil. The beeswax still provides the barrier, but the oil remains completely edible safe. Quick-filled version. Melt a small block of beeswax in your hand and rub it directly onto a clean, warm tool blade. Follow immediately with a light coat of any vegetable oil. This emergency treatment can protect a tool for an entire season if you are caught without the full mixture. Safety note. Linseed oil-soaked rags can spontaneously combust if left crumpled in a pile. Always spread rags flat to dry outdoors or submerge them in water inside a sealed metal container before disposal.
This is the same precaution printed on every can of boiled linseed oil. The environmental benefits are significant. Every tool you keep out of the landfill for another 20 years reduces demand for new steel production, which is one of the most carbon-intensive industries on Earth. You also eliminate the need for toxic chemical rust preventives that eventually leach into garden soil. After using this treatment consistently, many gardeners report that their tools actually improve with age. The handles develop a natural grip from the darkened wood. The metal develops a protective patina that makes future applications faster. The entire collection begins to feel like a set of heirloom tools, rather than disposable consumer goods. This is not just about saving money on tools. It is about changing your relationship with the objects you use to grow food. When you invest a few minutes and a few dollars once every few years, instead of buying new tools constantly, you break the cycle of planned obsolescence that modern industry depends on. The beeswax and oil treatment is one small but powerful piece of the larger Amish system of self-reliance. It is simple enough that anyone can do it, effective enough that it has lasted centuries, and inexpensive enough that it costs almost nothing after the first application. I encourage you to try it this weekend. Pick one tool, your favorite shovel, your best pair of pruners, or the old rake that is starting to show orange spots. Clean it, treat it with the beeswax oil mixture, and set it aside for 48 hours. Then use it for a full season and see the difference for yourself. When you are finished, come back and tell me in the comments, what tool did you treat first? How old is it? Did you notice a difference after the first rain? I read every single comment and I answer as many as I can. If this information helped you, please share it with another gardener who is tired of watching good tools rust away. Subscribe so you don't miss the next forgotten secret. In the next video, I will reveal the exact $2 natural spray the Amish use to keep garden pests away, without harming beneficial insects or soil life. Thank you for watching. May your tools stay strong, your garden stay productive, and your hands stay busy for many decades to come.